Are you gonna do the wrap up? No? Okay. Well, hello there everyone, my name is Amy, this is the Opinionated Woman, and welcome to Crafty Reads, the series where I craft something and we talk about the last 5 books that I've read. Today I'm working on a project that I'm making a video for, so I'm not going to tell you anything about it. If you're curious about a big crochet project that I've been working on that is so cottagecore and cute, then subscribe and you will see it when the video eventually comes out. I feel like I've been stuck making presents, some enjoyable, some not so enjoyable, and now I get to work on my own stuff until the February birthdays start, which is in like 2 weeks, not even 10 days. So yeah, that's what we're going to be working on today. Let's get into the books. The first book I read was Hold Back the Tide by Melissa Salisbury. This book, I kind of completely forgot what it was about, and then when I picked it up, I didn't read the back so that I could make sure that I was going in like as blind as possible, and I'm so glad I did. So this is a horror set in Scotland, and we're following our main character Alva. Is that her name? Alva, yeah. So her and her father live in this like really remote part of Scotland, on the edge of this edge of a loch, and the loch feeds this mill that's in the town that's sort of like further down the mountain from where they live, and her father is the keeper of the loch, and she at the very beginning makes it very clear that she thinks that her father killed her mother. So she's kind of been living in fear with him for years, and she's trying to make a plan to escape. And just as she's about to escape, some really creepy shit starts happening. She finds out why he's the protector of the loch, and there are these creatures that come out at night. Oh my god, they sound so gross. They sound so disgusting, and like the people in the town are like really suspicious of them, like not really like fans of theirs. They're like very remote. So Alva has a couple of friends in the town that she sort of relies on, but at the same time she's working really hard to get out of there. But once she becomes aware of these creatures, she realizes that she can't leave without doing something, without fixing this problem. She can't just leave the town in danger, because she is part of that family who are the keepers of the loch. So that is like part of her. So yeah, she stays on and she goes to protect everyone, and it is so fucking scary and gross, and I really liked it. It was so short, but I think it was really good that it was short. It meant that you could get like a slow atmospheric vibe while also keeping the pace up, and I thought it was really well written and really creepy and scary, and that's exactly what I want from a horror, and the fact that this was a surprise horror was totally fine with me. Then I read This Lovely City by Louise Hare. This is historical fiction. It's set in the 50s in London. So what I didn't know is that around, after the First World War ended, England basically, I think, to like supply the workforce, because they obviously had lost a lot of young men in the war, they brought young men from the colonies. So basically a bunch of Jamaican men, they managed to, they expedited their visa sort of situation and everything, and made it so that they could come to England to work. And a lot of the people around them are very suspicious of these people. There's like a lot of racism, especially, because they're like, that whole xenophobic, they took our jobs, that kind of rhetoric, that kind of vibe. But we're following Laurie, who's basically, he's a jazz musician. Fucking hell. He's a jazz musician who works as I almost said as a post office. He doesn't work as a post office. He works as a postman. And he's fallen in love with the girl next door, who's a mixed race girl. And everything seems to be going fine until a dead baby is found on a common, on Clapham Common. And it obviously everybody starts to get up in arms, thinking that that every black person that they see is to blame, and just getting very racist about things, basically. And Laurie and Evie, his girlfriend, along with the rest of the black community around him, sort of have to come together. And along the way, him and Evie separately and together, like, find out some secrets about this child, about Evie's upbringing. And it's just really beautifully written. It's like, it really had me compelled. I was like, I really need to keep reading this book. So yeah, I've never read from this author before. I don't know whether this is her debut, but yeah, I thought this just had such a good vibe, and I really enjoyed how it turned out. Then I read a really juicy contemporary, and that's Idol by Louise O'Neill. I'm used to Louise O'Neill writing very hard-hitting, like abuse stories and stuff. So this was a lot lighter than that. Was it though? So we're basically following this woman called Samantha. She's in her 40s. And she's very, even though they mention Goop in this book once, she's very Gwyneth Paltrow coded. Like the whole woohoo thing. She has a company called Shakti, even though she's a freaking white woman. And she's like got a big social media presence. And yeah, it's all about wellness, you know, and manifestation, which is always a big red flag for me. Fucking manifestation. And a lot of like using certain things to buoy up their companies, which so many companies did, especially during the lockdown. Like during the COVID thing, they were promoting using one of their essential oils that is supposed to help your immune system. So, you know, all of that kind of stuff that we saw these companies doing, she put that all into this character. And Samantha has just come out with a book, and she has just written an essay for this newspaper. And in the essay, she decided to talk about a sexual experience that she had with a female friend of hers when she was 18, called Lisa, but she just called her Elle in the magazine story, which is ridiculous because anyone who knew her would be able to track back who that person was so easily. So this thing comes out and she has absolutely no scam about it. She's just like, everything's publicity. She's like happy about it and everything, until she gets an email from Lisa that was basically like, I don't, like, why did you talk about that? Like, this is my life that you're fucking with, basically. And I don't remember that night how you remember that night. Like, she was like, I very much remember that as being non-consensual. And Samantha starts going into a freaking meltdown because, like, oh my God, her livelihood and so she's a really unlikable main character. If you don't like unlikable main characters, you're not going to like this book because she's a cunt. I don't think I've ever said that on YouTube. Have I? I say it all the time at home, but she's awful. She's a horrible, horrible person. But you can see how her charisma, like, really lets her get away with stuff, because she almost, because you're in her head, she convinces you that she's not the one, you know, to blame. And she's just horrible. And she decides to go back home to find this friend and get her to retract what she said, you know, so that she can, you know, save her book sales or whatever. and it's messy, and it's like dark, and I just really enjoyed it. Like I thought she did it really well, but it is dark, it is heavy. There are sexual assault implications and things like that. So don't go in too gung-ho, but I really did like it. It was spicy. Not in like a they bang kind of way. She does the one time, but it's not much of a thing. You know what I mean? Oh, by the way, this is my Oko diffuser. I decided to put it in my videos. I thought it would be cool, and it's like a nice bubbly noise. I don't know if you can hear it, but I don't know if the mic's picking it up. But the scent that I've got in is the comforting scent from the Clicks essential oils range. It's got like lots of notes of orange in it. So good. Okay, let me start another square. Let me do the magic knot. Boo, boo, boo. Like a pro. I can do magic knots in my sleep, boy. Okay. Then I read Preloved by Lauren Bravo. This is another recommendation from my mom, so thank you, Mom. She always recommends me 10 out of 10 friendship fiction. And Preloved was great. It was just a really fun old time. So we're following our main character, Gwen, who's just lost her job. And she also, you know, in like not so far past, has ended an engagement with someone. So she's very like in limbo, kind of. So so while she's in this limbo, she decides, okay, she's going to start volunteering at this little charity shop. And we start to see her sort of relaxing and trying to figure out what she wants in her life, like what she truly wants and what she truly needs. And she starts to explore that. She makes friends at this charity store. She meets this man, and the whole time when she's with this man, I'm like, what are you doing? He's insufferable. I messaged my mom. I was like, Mom, why is she fucking this man? Why? And she was like, I don't know. I have no idea. It was so funny. But while we get her sort of progress, we also get stories from the points of view. So like in between each chapter, we'll get a story called like goalkeeper's gloves. And it'll either be about the person donating it or about the person who's buying it and how that object is going to make an impact on their life. And we just get a little snippet of this person's life, and then most of the time we don't return back to them. And I really liked that. I just thought it was really delicately done, and it had a really heartwarming, wonderful finish. And yeah, friendship fiction is definitely my vibe, definitely. And lastly, I finished Missing Hearts by Celeste. It's so strange because I swear that I saw so many people. 1 second, I have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. I saw plenty of people like hauling this book or putting it on the anticipated list because it's Celeste Ng and she's very popular. Like Everything You Never Told Me was really popular, and then Little Fires Everywhere was really popular, and then it got made into a show that people really liked. So like obviously her new release was getting hyped, but I haven't seen people actually talking about it like after they've actually read it. And I'm wondering if it's because this book is a bit different to her others, because this is dystopian, but it's a very soft dystopia. And I think that's what makes it so scary, is that the dystopia is completely possible. Like America goes through this financial crisis, and as a result of the financial crisis, this thing called PACT comes into being. It's basically the laws that they're being governed under now. And it's very patriotic, very America, you know, like, and very anti-Asian. And it's very strictly controlled to the point that at some, like if parents are seen as being disruptive or potentially influencing their child against the teachings of PACT, the government will come in and take your children. So we're following our main character, Bird, who's like 12 or 13, and his mom disappeared a few years before. And all he knows about her is that she's a poet. His dad doesn't want to talk about her. And one of Bird's friends is one of these children that goes missing. So he's a very lonely child, and at the beginning of the story, and he's just sort of, you know, his friend is gone, his mother is gone, his father doesn't want to talk to him about his mother. It's just very hard for him. And as we go on the story, we go, we follow Bird as he tries to discover what happened to his mother and what happened to his friend who disappeared at the same time. And I thought, oh, an airplane. So we're following Bird as he's really like struggling quite a lot. And it's very quiet. Like there are elements of resistance towards Pact, and they're all very like art based, because like his mother's work is very often used as a slogan for these movements, and especially the poem Our Missing Hearts. And I just thought, like, I've really missed her writing, and like the fact that this is such a delicate dystopia, I feel like a lot of people who might be put off by the fact that it's dystopia would actually enjoy it more than they thought. I certainly didn't. I don't go for dystopias very often. I just love how much emotion and atmosphere and sense of place that she can put in like the tiniest little sentence. I can't even remember what the sentence was, but she literally had a 5-word sentence, and it was just so beautiful. I read it like a few times over, and I don't annotate books, so I don't know what it was, but she just picks and chooses her words in such a delicate way. And I just, I'm so glad I got to finally read this, because I picked this up skeptically, and I'm so glad that I actually did, because it was totally worth it. Alrighty, and that is another episode of Crafty Reads done and dusted. Look at how blue this stack is. I know the spine is back, but look at that. Nice. Yes, that is my Crafty Reads. I am going to be having quite a lot of videos coming up coming up soon, I think, because my mom and my stepdad are coming to visit from the UK. I have a reading vlog planned with 3 books from authors that I have loved previously. And I also have a haul coming because my mom is bringing me some books and some other fun things. So if you want to see all of that fun stuff, vlogs, books, hauls, all of that fun stuff, subscribe, and then you won't miss out on anything. And as always, my social media is all down below: TikTok and Instagram. We have fun over there, and my little Kofi link, which is just a one-time tip jar if you ever want to support my channel. But other than that, like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff, and I'll check you next time.